Alright guys, so today, obviously you guys can tell by the title of the video, we're going to talk about baby number 3, my thoughts on baby number 3, all of that, because I feel like every single time, you guys, every single time, not that I'm mad about it, but every single time that I ask for questions or I say, hey, I'm going to do a Q&A, do you have any questions you want to ask me? The number one question that I get is, will there be another baby? Is baby number 3 coming anytime soon? And I feel like I can never put it in a Q&A because I have so much to say about this topic. Like if I answered that in a Q&A, then that would be like the majority of the Q&A. So I figured it was just time to sit down and talk about it. So I'm gonna like get into all of my thoughts, all of that, answer the question for you guys. I know that there's gonna be people that say like, hey, you don't have to answer this question. People are gonna be like offended that other people ask me this question. I get it, but I think by now you guys should know that I don't do anything that I don't want to do. So if I'm sitting down here and chatting about it, it's because I feel like I want to share this with you guys. You guys are my closest girlfriends. You guys are the people that I come to and talk to about everything. So I feel like I want to share this with you guys. So that's what we're doing today. So baby number 3, is that gonna happen? Where are we with that? Are we any closer to making a decision? I'm gonna tell you that now that Jackson is almost 2, so Jackson's like 19 months old. In December, Riley will be 4, and in December also, Jackson will be 2. So I got pregnant with Riley, and with Riley, I waited until she was 1 to start trying to conceive baby number 2. I wanted them to have like that 2-year age difference. And as we all can see, as I've shared here on my channel, that was very hard. The transition from 1 to 2 kids, in my opinion, was harder than 0 to 1. It was very emotionally, physically, all of the things exhausting. So I've shared that if I could have waited, like if I knew what I knew now, I probably would have waited an extra year in between the 2 kids. So I always said that if we were gonna have baby number 3, we were probably gonna wait until Jackson turned 2 and then try to conceive, you know, baby number 3 then. So now that Jackson is a little older, now that he's starting to be his own tiny little human and all of that, I had started to kind of flirt with the idea of having baby number 3, and I had just started to like open myself up to the idea of having baby number 3, or at least trying for baby number 3. Like in my mind, obviously it would be hard because if you don't know already, like we're here in Virginia, away from family, we don't have help. It's literally just my husband and I. We don't have a nanny, we don't have a babysitter, we don't have family that I feel comfortable like leaving our kids with. So it's literally just him and I, and most of the child care falls on me, plus all the other things that I do. So it's hard. I'd be lying if I said that it's not hard already with the 2 kids. But I had kind of started thinking like, well, maybe we could do it, right? Like I've been focusing a lot on my faith lately and focusing on, you know, reading the Bible more and just focusing on the things that to me are the most important. And to me, I feel like there's really nothing more, I don't know, like more worthwhile that I could devote my time to than raising another child, to raising children and to teaching them how to be good, like, I don't know, like God following people, you know, eventually, like as stay-at-home moms, as moms period, like our job is super important. We're raising the next generation of like the entire future. I don't know what the heck is more important than that. So I was really just starting to think about it. And I will tell you guys, I will share with you guys that Joe very much is not interested in that right now. Like I had kind of been flirting with it and kind of been joking with him every once in a while, like, oh, okay, baby number 3. And he kind of was trying to appease me and like would kind of go along with the jokes. But we had our dinner date. I don't know if you guys remember if you watched the Miami vlogs, but when we went to Paracones, the first like date night that we had, I literally brought up that conversation. And I'm trying not to get too emotional now because I don't want this to be like an emotional video, but that entire date, you guys, at the table there in the restaurant, I was pretty much in tears. Okay, I was in tears because I brought up the conversation and he told me basically that he doesn't really want a 3rd baby, that he's not interested in that, definitely not right now, and that he just, it's very obvious that there's a lot of things that scare him, not for any bad reason. Like his feelings are valid, his points are valid. The fact that it would be harder for both of us, like alone here, to have a third baby was hard. So like I get that, but I guess like I never realized how like not like how much he didn't necessarily want that until we had that conversation. And it was a hard conversation to have. Like I said, I was at the dinner table in tears. I guess my biggest thing is like, I feel like, would I regret not having a third baby, right? Like, would I regret, like, would I wake up in, you know, 3-4 years and regret not having had a bigger family? Like, when I first got married to Joe, I always said like, oh, I want a big family, I want 4 kids. And then when we moved up here to Virginia, we joked like, hey, we're gonna have the A team, which is Riley and Jackson, and then maybe one day when we move back to Virginia, when we move back to Miami, we'll have the B team and we'll have 2 more kids. Now that we've had kids, we know how hard it is. So I kind of was like, well, maybe not 4, but maybe we could do 3. And when we were having this conversation over dinner, Joe was just telling me how happy he is with our 2 kids, how happy he is with the family dynamic that we have now, and that he himself can't see himself like regretting like one day like not having more kids. And it was a hard pill to swallow, honestly, because it was almost like somebody was like slamming a door shut in my face. Like I wasn't ready to hear that necessarily. So it felt very much like I was being told no, which I mean, I was basically being told no, because obviously it takes 2 people to have a baby, right? And I don't want to have a baby if the other person doesn't want to have a baby. So it was just kind of like not a fun conversation, not a fun dinner, and it brought up all these emotions in me, like, you know, so that's it, like, so I'm done with the baby phase, you know, no more nursing, no more having a tiny baby, like all of those emotions that I had kind of been not trying to think about too much, because like Jackson obviously is the youngest, and like all of these milestones that we've grown out of with Jackson, whether it's him, you know, crawling or walking or saying his first words, like all of the milestones, the stopping of the nursing and all of that, I didn't really think to myself in the moment like, oh, this is the last time that I'm ever gonna do this, because in my mind I always thought, well, maybe one day in the future I'll have that again. And so it kind of brought up all those emotions of like, you know, so that's it, like I'm done having babies, and I'm still trying to process all of that. It's still hard for me to like accept that, because, you know, there is very much like, I would say like 85-90% chance that that's it, like those are our 2 kids. And you guys know I adore them. They are the light of my life. I love them so much, and I am so eternally grateful to the Lord for allowing me to be their parents, you know, to be their mom. Like, I'm so grateful for my kids, but I feel like, was that supposed to be it? Or I feel like my heart has so much more love to give. So, you know, is my family supposed to be bigger? Like, will I regret that one day, that we don't go and have a bigger family? Like, it's just, it's hard to know like when your family is done, right? Like, I know that I can't be the only one to have thoughts like this. So if you guys have thoughts or anything you guys want to share, feel free to share down below in the comments. But it's something that I'm struggling with, and just something that's not been the easiest thing to think about. So there's a part of me that's like really sad about this. Like, Joe did say like, well, what if, you know, maybe down the road, like if Jackson is maybe a little bit older and we do end up moving back to Miami, maybe, you know, he would be entertaining the idea of maybe going for baby number 3 at that point, if our situation was different and we had more help and all of that. But then in the same sense, like, I ask myself at that point, like, would I want to start over? Like, at that point, once the kids are even older, like, would I want to again go back to having a newborn and to have the sleepless nights and to have the diaper changes and all of that. Like I don't know that I would, you know. We're getting to a point now where things are starting to get a little bit easier in some senses. You know, nothing's gonna ever be easy with the kids, period, but I feel like we're getting to a point where things are gonna be a little easier. So would I want to go back to like the really hard phase? I don't know. And I'm 30 now. I turned 31 in August. So, you know, down the road in the next 5 years, am I gonna want to keep having kids when I'm, I don't know, 33, 34, 35? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but me personally, am I gonna want to? I don't know. So there's that. There's other fears too. Like even if Joe were to say like, absolutely, I want to have baby number 3 right now, which is not very much what he said, there's still a lot of fears on my part too. Like what if I can't get pregnant, right? What if I struggle with infertility the next time? What if I suffer a miscarriage, right? Because I've been very thankful and lucky up until this point, like very blessed that I haven't had to deal with any kind of miscarriage, which I know is so common, but me personally, I've never had to deal with that. So am I ready to open up myself to the possibility of that happening? Could I mentally go through with that? I don't know. Like it would be obviously devastating. And then just all the fears that come with a pregnancy. You know, I would have so much anxiety during the pregnancy, like making sure that everything's okay. With Jackson, I had a little bit of a stressful pregnancy there because I had the short cervix issue and I was scared that I was going to go into preterm labor. So there's like a certain part of my brain that's like, well, maybe it's better that it's just the 2 kids. Like I have 2 healthy, beautiful kids. Like I've been so blessed in so many ways. Do I want to, like, you know, it's a dumb term to think about, like you want to roll the dice again, like you want to take that chance again that something goes wrong, or that I don't know, you add more stress into your life. I don't know, like do I want to do that? I don't know. So those are all things that I'm thinking about. I also think about too, like, you know, the kids are getting to a point now where, you know, Riley's in dance, Riley's in swim, Jackson soon's going to be in activities, and I'm so happy that we're there with them, right? And they're gonna do things and have friends and hopefully, you know, be out more, right? Like all of this time they've really just been home with me. Now we're getting to a more social, I don't know, stage in their life. So what would happen if I had another baby right now or in the next year or 2? Then I'd be taking care of a newborn. And then is that fair to Jackson and Riley that I take that time away from being present with them to be with like a newborn? But on the flip side, like I'm giving them another sibling. So it's hard to kind of decide which way to go. But for a while here, my heart's kind of been leaning towards, well, you know, trusting God, trusting that if it's something that he wants to happen, then it'll happen, right? And kind of maybe flirting with the idea of getting off of birth control and seeing what happens. And then when Joe was very much against that, it was like, all right, well, I guess that's not what we're gonna do. You know, I also, like, I love my husband, and again, he's given me 2 beautiful kids, 2 healthy kids. Like, I love our family, but I would never want to, like, then try to have him appease me, right? So him be like, fine, whatever, we can try for baby number 3, and then, like, I don't know, like, would he resent me at some point if, I don't know, if something went wrong, or if, you know, we're just having a hard time with baby number 3, like would he resent me then for that, for making that decision? There's a lot of fears around that since we're both not really on the same page. And again, like, please know, like, I talked to Joe about filming this video. Before I filmed this video, I said, is it okay if I go on camera and kind of talk about this? Because literally it is the #1 question that I get asked. And I get it, right? Like, I know that it's kind of, some people would say like, why do people ask that? I mean, I get it. I get that people want to know, and like, I love you guys, and I love that you're so invested in our family and that you guys follow along. You guys feel like family to me. So I get the curiosity and I get it, and I love you guys. And you guys that say like, oh, you make the cutest babies, why don't you have another one? Like, thank you. But just know that there's so much more to deciding whether or not to have another baby or a baby, like, than just, oh, like, you make cute kids, just keep making more of them. There's a lot of factors to consider. Some of them I've already mentioned. You have other things like the financial issues, like things would be more expensive, right? You have another baby. Joe and I right now for the kids are considering either homeschooling or putting them in some kind of private school. So you add another kid, that's more money for private school. And we're very fortunate, you know, right now we're in a good spot, but what if one of these days we're not? Then, you know, things would be a lot more difficult. So all in all, like I'm pretty confident at this point. Like at this point, we are not trying to have baby number 3. I'm still on birth control, and I will stay on birth control until, I don't know, probably either, like I told Joe, honestly, I told him we have a good maybe 2 or 3 years to decide if we're gonna go for baby number 3 or just expanding our family in general. After that, if we decide like, look, the 2 kids is it, then he's gonna get snipped. He's gonna get a vasectomy, because I'm not gonna keep taking birth control my entire life. So, you know, he can decide if that's something in the next 2 or 3 years. If we decide it's a no-go, then he can get snipped. But it's like one of those conversations that I don't know, I didn't really think I'd be having. Or I don't know, like I guess people must have these conversations, right? Like I can't be the only one to ever decide, you know, to have the conversation of, do you want more kids? Oh yes, I want more kids. And the other partner's like, no, or vice versa. Like I know that I can't be the only one. It's just something that I didn't really, like it didn't enter my brain that these are the kinds of things that you talk about. And like I know that other people do it. Other people have 7, 8, 9, 10 kids. God bless them. I don't know how, but people do it. And I feel like there's a part of me, there's like my heart that's very much like, we could have more. We could have more. I think about the idea of having a big family, having big family reunions, like having built-in best friends for the kids, right? You know, right now it's just Jackson and Riley, but if they had another sibling, that'd be like an extra friend for life. That'd be an extra, you know, cousins for their kids. Like I would love to give that to them, right? And then there's the other part that's more like rational, that's like, well, maybe that's not what's best for them. And it's hard to know, I don't know, it's just hard to know which way to go. So I thought that maybe we'd be trying soon, but right now it's a no. So the only hope that I have at all is if God willing, we get back closer to family in the next couple years, which ideally is really what the plan has always been, to be up here in Virginia for a couple years. And then if Joe can get a position with his job back closer to family, then we could move back home. But I'm trying very much to trust in God and to trust that his timing is the best timing. And I'm praying about all of this, right? I'm praying about a future move back to Miami. I'm praying about baby number 3, whether it's that we do end up having baby number 3, or if we don't, just helping me to be content with that. Because that's the other thing, like when we had that date night and we talked about this, and I was very sad. Like I was very sad for a couple days. I was very sad. And like at the freaking restaurant, like every table had like 3 kids, and there were a bunch of pregnant ladies like walking around, and it made me emotional. It made me emotional because this part of me wants that, maybe, or at least doesn't want to be told no. And then this kind of what was happening, right? So there's, what was I saying? I don't remember what I was saying. I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. So, you know, I was sad, and I don't want to necessarily focus so much of my attention on what I don't have, baby number 3. And I want to make sure that I'm focusing so much on all that I do have. And I'm blessed with 2 kids, so I want to make sure that I'm pouring my energy into being thankful and grateful for that and the family that we have, and not thinking of these, well, what ifs and, you know, what I'm missing out on potentially versus what I have right in front of me. So it's important to me that I do that. But I'd be lying if I said that like every time I see a baby announcement, there's a part of my heart that's like, you know, that'll probably never be me again. You know, it sucks to close that chapter, whether rationally or not I even want that, right? Because I'm not even 100% certain that I want it. But just really thinking that that chapter may be closed makes me very emotional. So I've had a lot of friends on here, like on Instagram and stuff, that are pregnant with baby number 3, and I'm so happy for them. But at the same time, when I see those announcements, I'm like what if that was us? What if that was me, right? And my sister's pregnant now, and I'm so happy for her. Like when I found out that she was pregnant, it was even before Joe and I had this conversation, I literally cried tears of joy because I'm so happy for her. But it's kind of like, how am I gonna feel now? Like when I see my little niece or nephew, am I gonna be like, obviously I'm gonna be happy, but is there gonna be a part of me that's like sad that, you know, there's this tiny little baby and I'm never gonna have a teeny tiny baby like that anymore? Or am I gonna be like, I'm so happy that I don't have to deal with the sleepless nights anymore? Like, I don't really know. I'm very conflicted. I'm conflicted. Joe is not conflicted. Joe is very happy with the 2 kids. He's not having those emotions. He's like, I'm so happy that that phase is over with. So it's hard because we're not exactly on the same page there. So I hope that answers the question for you guys. Yeah, I'm sure that there will still be people that ask, but I promise you that if the conversation changes, that I will let you guys know. But right now, just know that like we're not purposely trying to conceive. We're not purposely trying to do that and then hiding it. Like, I'm not pregnant. There's no plan of being pregnant anytime soon or ever. So I hope that you guys will still enjoy hanging out with our family of 4, and you know, just know that for the time being, that's us. So I love you guys. That's it, because if I keep rambling, I'm just gonna get more emotional, and I feel like I'm starting to finally get into like a good place, which is why I was even able to sit down and film this video for you guys. But that's where we're at now. So I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.